in miracles. And tonight we've been delivered another one. How good is Australia? And how good are Australians? These are the quiet Australians who have won a great victory tonight.
In the midst of World War II, it was Robert Menzies who denounced another conflict, the class war, as a false war. Menzies observed there were many Australians, salary earners, shopkeepers, skilled artisans, professional men and women, farmers and others, who were neither rich enough to have individual power nor organised for pressure politics. These hard-working Australians, he said, were envied, taxed and taken for granted, and yet they were the backbone of the nation. To Menzies, they were the forgotten people. And it was Menzies who recognised that by encouraging their ambition, effort and readiness to serve, that we could set the essential conditions for Australia's success. So, 75 years ago, the Liberal Party of Australia was formed to serve all Australians, not sectional interests, to oppose the Labor Party, strive for an end to the class war, and take a stand for the forgotten people.
This is the house that you built, you and your fathers. You built it in the name of democracy, as the parliament of a free nation, a place in which your liberties would be safeguarded. What has it become in recent years? The headquarters of irresponsible socialists, a house of disruption. In the meantime, homes are scarce, living costs extortionate. Under Liberal government, the house that you built will again become the seat of responsible government, your safeguard against tyranny, a house truly dedicated to the freedom of the Australian people, to the achievement of progress, development and prosperity. On December the 10th, vote Liberal.
On December 10, 1949, the Liberal Party defeated Chifley's Labor Party and was swept into government, where it would remain for 23 years. From the outset, the Liberal Party in government sought to promote the centrality of Australian family life through practical measures that included an end to rationing, the extension of child endowment, and the encouragement of home ownership through home savings grants for married couples. Improving the education of young Australians was one of Menzies' great achievements. Tax relief for school fees and the extension of funding to Catholic and independent schools respected the choice of many parents, while young Australians also gained from the expansion of universities, Commonwealth scholarships, and the establishment of colleges of advanced education. Menzies' time as Prime Minister was marked by some of the great nation-building programs of the last century, including the Snowy Mountains scheme. These enabled Australia to hold itself out as a beacon for more than 1 million migrants who arrived during Menzies' first decade in office. Menzies and his government shaped new relationships for Australia. The ANZUS Treaty was signed, the cornerstone of Australian security for nearly 70 years. And the Australia-Japan Trade Agreement of 1957 was central to our progress as a trading nation. Menzies' legacy was a stable, prosperous and optimistic nation, confident in the world. Between 1949 and 1972, Australia's economy tripled in size, while millions more Australians became homeowners. Prime Minister Harold Holt continued the program of economic reform that he began as Treasurer. Among these was the introduction of decimal currency.
In come the dollars, in come the cents, to replace the pounds and the shillings and the pence. Be prepared, folks, when the coins begin to mix on the 14th of February 1966.
Who are you?
I'm Dollar Bill.
Tragically, his time as Prime Minister was cut short. Holt's successor, John Gorton, initiated the Australian Industry Development Corporation as well as the Australian National Line. He extended federal assistance for science laboratories and schools. After being Treasurer and Minister for External Affairs, William McMahon became Prime Minister in 1971, where he continued the government's record of economic stability. During the 6 years spanning Holt, Gorton and McMahon as Prime Minister, the Liberal Party provided an engine for social progress, including dismantling the White Australia policy and the successful 1967 referendum, removing the ban on women as permanent public servants and entitling female employees to equal rates of pay, welcoming Senator Neville Bonner as the first Indigenous parliamentarian, and appointing Annabel Rankin the first female minister to administer a government department, following in the footsteps of Enid Lyons, who in the Menzies government became the first woman in cabinet. But by 1972, Australians decided it was time and elected Gough Whitlam's Labor Party. Within the space of 3 years, mortgage rates had risen from 7 to 10%, the unemployment rate had doubled, and the inflation rate tripled. In 1975, Malcolm Fraser promised to turn on the lights.
Australia, you've been sleeping, brought down to your knees. We've lost a lot of living in the dark of these 3 years. We can look towards the future and the way things ought to be. Turn on the lights, Australia, it's up to you and me. Turn on the lights and we'll live again. Turn on the lights for Australia. Turn on the lights and we'll live again. Turn on the lights, Australia. It's up to you and me.
Sung by Renee Gayer, written and authorised by T. Eggleton for the Liberal Party.
As well as halting the economic slide of the Whitlam years, the Fraser government reaffirmed the Liberal Party's commitment to families, with the introduction of family allowance benefit paid directly to mothers, the abolition of estate and death duties, and the automatic indexation of pensions. Malcolm Fraser created the Federal Police, increased defence spending and opened the Australian Institute of Sport in 1981, nurturing many future champions. Australia welcomed large numbers of non-European immigrants, while the environmental credentials of the party were strengthened by the banning of mining on Fraser Island and whaling in Australian waters, and by the declaration of the Great Barrier Reef as a marine park. The benefits of later financial sector reforms also owed their origins to the efforts of the Fraser government through the Campbell Report into the Australian financial system. Following the 1983 election defeat, the Federal Liberal Party faced its longest period in opposition. Led by Andrew Peacock, John Howard, John Hewson and Alexander Downer, this was a period of debate and renewal, during which we were reminded that unity was a necessary condition for government. In leading the Liberal Party to the 1996 election, John Howard drew upon another lesson from our party's formation. Just as Menzies gave voice to the forgotten people, so did Howard make a stand for the Australian mainstream. Against Labor's backdrop of economic insecurity and wrong priorities, the Liberal Party pledged to govern for the many, not just the few.
Better future for our daughters, better future for our sons, better future for our families, and this country we all love. For all of us, not just for one, for all of us, not just for some, not just for some, but for all of us, for all of us, for all of us.
The Liberal Party came to government with one of the largest majorities since Federation. The Howard government pursued policies in the national interest like reform of tax, industrial relations and the waterfront, which made Australia a more productive place, lowered personal taxes and helped produce over 2.2 million new jobs with higher real wages and fewer strikes. The Howard government also took steps to restore the work ethic and self-esteem among those who'd been neglected by introducing work for the dole. After inheriting a $96 billion debt, John Howard and Peter Costello fixed the budget, repaid Labor's debt and endowed Australia with the Future Fund. Under Liberal and Nationals economic management, inflation was halved, unemployment was reduced to 4%, the lowest level since the 70s, and interest rates to the levels of the 60s. After the tragedy of Port Arthur, the Liberal and Nationals government took action with national firearm legislation. Since then, the rate of gun deaths and gun homicides have fallen by around 2/3. They also reinvested in our defence and security forces to meet the security challenges in the aftermath of September 11 and the Bali bombings, while increasing stability in our region. The Howard government continued the Liberal Party's strong commitment to health and education, respecting choice and insisting on stronger education standards. After 11.5 years, Labor returned to power, but it wasn't long before they got on the wrong track.
Labor is still bitterly divided.
Right now, up to $8 billion is being wasted on school hall rip-offs. Right now, Labor's insulation disaster is putting 240,000 homes at risk. Right now, illegal immigration is out of control. Right now, the cost of living is pushing families to the edge. Right now, Labor's debt is growing by over $100 million every day. More labour, more waste, more debt, more taxes.
In early 2008, Australia had wall-to-wall Labor governments for the first time. Yet, under the leadership of Brendan Nelson, Malcolm Turnbull and Tony Abbott, the Liberal Party showed its resilience and ongoing relevance to mainstream Australians. After almost returning to government in 2010, the coalition won the 2013 election in a landslide. Under the leadership of Tony Abbott, Malcolm Turnbull and Scott Morrison, the coalition government once again put Australia back on track. Labor's carbon and mining taxes were repealed.
To scrap the carbon tax to reduce your cost of living pressures.
Landmark trade agreements were delivered, including with Japan, China, Korea and the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
More trade, more exports means more Australian jobs.
The flow of illegal boats was stopped, saving the budget billions, while all children were removed from detention. Small businesses are being protected from law-breaking unions. A record $100 billion is being invested in nation-building infrastructure, including congestion-busting roads and rail and a new airport in Western Sydney. And we're delivering Snowy 2.0, the largest renewable energy storage project in the Southern Hemisphere, among other practical measures to improve our environment. In 6 years, more than 1.4 million jobs have been created, with the rate of welfare dependency now the lowest in over 30 years. We've delivered tax relief for families and small businesses, record investment in schools, hospitals and medicines, and the biggest boost to our defence forces in a generation. And after 6 record deficits under Labor, it fell once again to the Liberal and National parties to fix Australia's budget, which is now returning to surplus for the first time since 2008.
Tonight, I announce that the budget is back in the black and Australia is back on track.
In 2019, pundits wrote off the Liberal Party. However, Scott Morrison's focus was not on them, but on those quiet Australians whose hard work continues to build our country.
We live in the best country in the world, but our future depends on a strong economy. Last year, for the first time, over 100,000 young people got a job. We're delivering tax relief for millions of families and small businesses, and the first budget surplus in more than a decade. There's more to do, and now is not the time to turn back. We're getting on with the job, building our economy, securing your future.
In May, the coalition government won re-election, with 22 newly elected members and senators on the team and a record 7 women in cabinet. The world today is very different to the world of 75 years ago, but the principle upon which our party was founded, of putting faith in the ambition, resilience and enterprise of individual Australians, remains as relevant today as ever. Yes, there is more to do, and there is no limit to what Australia can be. But in our 75th year, we celebrate how far we've come. We remember why we've been driven to make Australia stronger. We remember Menzies' warning that the class war is a false war. And we will always remember the forgotten people.
Authorised A. Hurst, Liberal Party, Canberra.